Imagine buying a house in Portugal for less than $5,000. Sounds fake, right? But it's real, not a scam, not a tourist trap. Real deeds, real stone walls. The real reason they're this cheap. And here's the twist. It's 2025, and Portugal's villages are emptying out faster than city rents are rising. To fight it, local councils are offering depopulation programs, EU grants, even digital nomad visas. Some places will practically pay you to move in. The contrasts are insane. One village promises cash if you raise kids to keep the school alive. Another bakes at 40 degrees in summer, turning stone homes into ovens. And then there's the strangest of all. Houses trapped beneath giant boulders, like legends carved into rock. Of course, there's always a catch. Roofs collapse, paperwork crawls slower than church bells, and goats still don't respect property lines. But $5,000 for your own house? That's still insane. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. And stick around because the strangest village isn't at the start. It's waiting at the very end. Penedono, the castle town nobody talks about. Price tag? $4,100. That's less than a year of coffee in Lisbon. Picture a village crowned by a medieval fortress straight out of a fantasy movie, yet scattered around its cobbled lanes are crumbling cottages practically begging for an owner. Penedono sits in Portugal's granite hills, looking like Game of Thrones meets Ghost Town. Houses cost peanuts, rent hovers around $200, and crime is basically non-existent. The catch? Jobs are rarer than polite drivers in Porto, and paperwork here moves slower than the pigeons that rule the castle walls. One old man muttered, "It's beautiful, but don't expect Amazon delivery." And he wasn't kidding. Roads are so narrow, even Google Street View refused. Picture mist curling around granite towers, roosters echoing through alleys, and ruined cottages waiting for braver owners than the pigeons. If you think a castle town this cheap is wild, wait until you see the valley where even time feels broken. Torre de Moncorvo, stone ruins for pocket change. Here's the hook. Ruins listed for $4,100, cheaper than a secondhand scooter. Nestled in the Douro interior, Moncorvo offers vineyard valleys, sleepy plazas, and cobblestones too narrow for your Uber. Life here is cheap. Local wine sells for $2 a bottle, rent rarely breaks $400, and crime is near zero. But winters are colder than your ex's texts. Roofs collapse like bad marriages, and bureaucracy drags on forever. A retired farmer chuckled, "It's peaceful, if you don't mind fixing a roof every winter." Meanwhile, the drivers here don't signal, they just pray. Crunch over dry leaves on cobblestones. Sip vino tinto in one hand while your neighbor's goat tugs at the other. Rustic? Absolutely. But wait until you hit a place where Starbucks would be considered luxury. Bragança, where even Starbucks costs more. Yes, you can find houses here for $4,800. That's less than a year of venti lattes. Bragança is technically a city, but its surrounding hamlets are stone cottages frozen in time. The vibe, medieval walls, empty streets, and grandmas carrying more firewood than physics should allow. Rent is dirt cheap, crime is non-existent, but jobs are scarcer than parking in Porto. And don't ask about the internet, you'll cry. One Redditor joked, "Bragança is perfect if you want medieval vibes and zero career options." They weren't wrong. Potholes here could swallow your rental car whole. Now picture sipping red wine by the castle wall while Google Maps weeps because the roads don't make sense? Confusing? Sure, but wait until you see a fairy tale slate village where cats own the alleys. Piodo, a fairy tale made of slate. Stacked into the mountains like dominoes, Piodo looks Instagram perfect. But dig deeper and you'll find derelict cottages under $7,000. Paradise with conditions. The views are unreal, the cost of living is pocket change, but the roads curl like roller coasters and winters never let go. Even Google Maps refuses to navigate here. One visitor laughed, "The cats own this place!" And they do, staring at you like you're trespassing. Imagine fog weaving through slate alleys, smoke curling from chimneys, church bells echoing against the valley. If you thought that was dramatic, wait until you meet the town where Portugal whispers in 2 languages. Miranda do Douro, where Portugal whispers in 2 languages. Half-ruined stone houses for under $6,000. That's the price of a weekend in Paris. Miranda do Douro clings to the Spanish border, where villagers speak not just Portuguese, but the rare Mirandese tongue. Here, rent barely breaks $300, bread costs under $1, and crime is non-existent. But jobs vanish faster than summer, Wi-Fi stutters, and the wind here slaps harder than your mom when you forget chores. A shopkeeper winked. If you want internet, go to Spain. He wasn't joking. Bureaucracy here makes even crossing the border feel fast. Picture orange-tiled roofs glowing at sunset, the Douro River slicing through cliffs, and silence deeper than the border itself. If you think a bilingual ghost town is odd, wait until you step through a medieval gate into a time capsule. Sortelia, the medieval time capsule. Step through Sortella's gates and it feels like you've slipped into the 1200s. Granite walls, cobbled lanes, and homes abandoned mid-story. Some listed for under $6,000, cheaper than your phone upgrade. This Sabugal stronghold is stunning. Crime is imaginary, but jobs are fossils and the Wi-Fi moves slower than shadows. One local quipped, "Don't even bother driving through, you'll lose a mirror to the walls." Now picture golden light staining granite, silence so thick you hear your pulse. Stone ruins glowing like lanterns of time. If medieval vibes hit hard, wait until you face a haunted beauty where ghosts outnumber tourists. Marialva, haunted beauty in the Barra interior. Marialva is postcard perfect, stone arches, empty plazas, and whispers at every corner. But Rex here go for $4,500, less than a semester at college. The town is shrinking fast, cost of living is bread and wine for pennies, but shops close earlier than your grandma's eyelids. Restoring one of these ruins might cost more than raising triplets. One villager grinned, "We've got more ghosts than tourists." He wasn't exaggerating. Phone signals here ghost you too. Picture yourself beneath a crumbling castle wall at sunset, swallows circling overhead, courage tested by a ruined cottage waiting for you. Haunted yet? Because the next village floats above the clouds. Linhares de Beira, the village above the clouds. Fixer-uppers for $5,000, less than 1 month's rent in Lisbon. Perched high in Serra da Estrela, Linhares sits with rooftops scraping the sky. The views are stunning, crime doesn't exist, but winters will freeze your eyebrows off. Groceries? That's a mountain expedition. One resident smirked, "We live closer to the clouds than to the supermarket." The wind howls like a horror soundtrack, but the scene is unmatched. Snow dusting rooftops, chimney smoke curling like dragon breath, mountain air biting your lungs. And if that feels extreme, wait until you see a slate labyrinth that even GPS gave up on. Talisnal, the schist labyrinth village. Hidden in the Lusa Mountains, Talisnal looks carved from chocolate. Ruins still sell under $6,000, basically a gaming laptop with better resale value. It's a fairy tale maze, waterfalls, wild boar stew cafes, and mossy slate houses. But parking is an Olympic sport, and roads twist like spaghetti. One visitor sighed. Google Maps gave up after 2 turns. Here, cats run the streets like mafia bosses, demanding sardine tribute. Imagine moss crawling over walls, pine smoke in the air, and waterfalls echoing through empty alleys. If that feels magical, the next fortress will make you believe time froze. Castelo Rodrigo, the borderland jewel. Perched on a hill near Spain, Castelo Rodrigo is a medieval stronghold where ruins hide for under $6,000, cheaper than a weekend in Paris. Life here is cheap, crime is nothing, but isolation is real and the wind knocks harder than your Wi-Fi router. A villager smirked, "We've got more stones than people." And he wasn't wrong. Good luck finding milk after 6 p.m. The cows clock out early. But picture this, sunset pouring gold over battlements, swallows darting, silence broken only by your footsteps. If a border fortress feels heavy, wait until you step into the village trapped between giants. Marvum, the fortress in the clouds. At night, fog wraps this fortress like a ghostly cloak. Forgotten cottages cling nearby for about $5,000, cheaper than a city's monthly rent. Marvão perches high on Alentejo cliffs, an eagle's nest with Spain laid out beneath you. Life is cheap, crime is non-existent, but jobs are scarce and loneliness hits harder than winter winds. One old man whispered, "Here, silence is louder than bells." He wasn't kidding. Gusts scream through alleys like the fortress itself is haunted. Stand on the battlements, fog rolling below, your shadow stretching across walls older than nations. Fortress or phantom? You decide. If that feels ghostly, wait until you hear the whispers of a schist village where the forest itself seems to talk. Freixo de Espada a Cinta, the village with the sword in its name. Yes, the name means ash tree with a sword at its belt. Sounds like a curse, right? But stone houses here still sell for under $6,000. Remote Douro cliffs, Gothic churches, vineyards clinging to rock. It's medieval poetry with a hangover. Life is cheap, crime is nil, but shops close whenever they feel like it. Roads coil forever, and winters bite to the bone. One villager said, "We've got legends older than the stones." And those bells, they don't ring, they scream, like they're announcing doomsday. Picture twilight cloaking the Douro, bats swarming overhead, the river flashing like a blade. Ominous doesn't even begin to cover it. Too sharp? Wait until you feel the freeze of hamlets where winter never leaves. Serra da Estrela hamlets, frozen in time literally. In Portugal's highest mountains, whole hamlets sell cottages for around $4,000. Sounds dreamy until you realize winter here is a prison warden. Snow buries roofs, goats vanish under drifts, and villagers huddle by fireplaces older than their surnames. Rent might be $200, cheese costs pennies, crime is non-existent, but heating will eat your budget alive. One shepherd grinned, "We live with the wolves, not the Wi-Fi." And he wasn't exaggerating. Snowplows show up late, wolves show up early. Step outside. Silence so sharp it aches, snow crunching like glass beneath your boots, chimney smoke fighting to stay alive in the wind. Beautiful, but brutal. Alijo, the Forgotten Vineyards. Deep in the Douro Valley, Alijo hides terraces that look painted by angels and abandoned cottages sold for the price of a concert ticket. Think $5,000 to $6,000 tops. Vineyard hills glow gold at sunset. Rivers carve the valley, and stone houses crumble quietly into vines. Cost of living? Cheap wine and bread. Crime? None. Work? Unless you can pick grapes, forget it. One farmer told me, "The land is rich, but the houses are tired." And he's right. Narrow roads slice like tightropes, daring your car to survive. Picture twilight over terraced hills, grape-sweet air thick around you, and a ruined doorway framed by vines glowing amber. Beauty and ruin, holding hands. And if vineyard silence feels heavy, wait until you hear the storm roar at the edge of the Atlantic. Caminha, where the sea meets the river. At the northern tip, where the Minho River crashes into the Atlantic, lies Caminha. Cottages here can be had for under $6,000, less than your vacation budget. Snapshot. Medieval towers, pine forests, and endless beaches. Rents hover low, seafood is cheap, but storms? They slam stone walls like drumbeats. A fisherman grinned, "Here, the sea is friend and enemy." Translation: fresh sardines for lunch, but expect your roof to rattle like a snare drum. Imagine standing on the cliffside, gulls screaming overhead, waves exploding below, and behind you, a ruin breathing with salt air and possibility. And if ocean drama feels wild, wait until we climb to the village of flowers, now almost empty of people. Edenha Avella, the village of stones and echoes. One of Portugal's oldest settlements, Edenha Avella rests on Roman bones. Here, broken cottages go for the cost of a weekend getaway, $5,000 or $6,000. Ruins stand beside mosaics, olive trees bow against medieval walls, and silence stretches like eternity. Rent is cheap, bread is cheaper, but life here means sharing space with centuries. A visitor confessed, "Walking here feels like being watched by history." And it's true. Arches creak, shadows stretch like fingers, and every step feels borrowed. Now imagine the moon rising over a Roman arch, wind clawing through hollow windows, and you standing inside an echo of empire. And if Roman ghosts weigh heavy, wait until you face Portugal's strangest village, where boulders decide how you live. Monsanto, the village between giants. Here it is, Monsanto, the strangest place in Portugal. Homes are literally trapped beneath boulders, lanes climb like stairways to another world, and nearby ruins still list under $6,000. Granite cliffs press against houses, shadows loom like giants, and the village clings stubbornly to stone. Life is cheap, crime is non-existent, but gravity itself feels like an enemy. A local said, "We live inside the mountain's ribs." He wasn't joking. Kitchens hide in caves, roofs bend beneath rock, and streets defy logic. Picture sunset staining boulders blood red, smoke spiraling from hidden chimneys, silence pressing on your chest like the weight of centuries. Living here is less a bargain and more a pact with legends. So there you have it, 20 villages where homes cost less than your phone, yet every stone whispers a secret. Some are magical, some are eerie, and some feel almost cursed by silence. Which one would you choose? The vineyards glowing at dusk? The slate alleys ruled by cats? Or the boulder village where giants decide where you live? Like this video if you've ever dreamed of disappearing into a place the world forgot. Subscribe, because this channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. And don't go far, Portugal is just the beginning. The next places, even stranger, even cheaper, maybe even cursed.